Rebirth of the Vengeful Demon Wife My Mom had end-stage renal failure, and after a long wait a donor kidney had finally been found. But on the very eve of the surgery, my wife Brielle's first love, Julian, came knocking. His mother was battling the same disease, and Brielle, head of the transplant unit, snatched the organ for her old flame, then drained the life savings fund I'd scraped together for Mom's operation. The surgery was cancelled. Without a new kidney, Mom deteriorated until her skin turned the color of ash and her heart gave out. When I confronted Brielle, she was still crooning over Julian's mother with saintly devotion. "Not my fault," she shrugged. "Blame your mom's lousy luck." Yet for 4 years of college, Mom had paid Brielle's tuition, softened by my plea to help the girl who swore she loved me. Reborn into senior year, I watched Brielle drop to her knees. "Colton, please give me a chance to stay in school. My family won't pay tuition. Could your family sponsor me for 4 years?" My stare was ice. "We don't have the means. Julian's folks are loaded, ask them. My family can't afford that brand of charity." 3 months earlier, Mom had been diagnosed with mid to late stage end-stage renal failure. It was the first time I'd seen her unbreakable composure crack. She pressed the lab report into my hand, fingers trembling like a child who'd broken a vase. I didn't allow myself a second to digest the blow. I called Brielle at once. As renal unit director, she rushed home, hugged Mom, and promised, "The hospital is hunting for a donor. Once we find one, we operate immediately. This isn't the death sentence you think." She detailed successful transplants the unit had performed, and Mom's brow finally uncreased. After Mom lay down, I let the panic surface and asked for the unvarnished truth. Mom had toiled her whole life, working double shifts so I could stay in school. Now I would sell everything to give her the best surgeon in the country. Brielle patted my shoulder. "It's not a death sentence. The minute a match appears, we go. I've already flagged your mom's file." Her promise loosened the knot in my chest, though a thread of dread remained. I cashed out every mutual fund and savings account. The money would cover the procedure. But a donor kidney is a waiting game. I haunted online forums, patient chat groups, bulletin boards. Every silent day tightened the noose. Then the call came, a perfect match. I sprinted to Riverdale, scribbled every pre-op instruction, raced home waving the paper like a winning ticket. Mom brightened, then clouded. "Son, folks say this costs a fortune." "I'm old, let the money stay with you and Brie." Her smile was thin, her skin already sallow, and the words scraped my heart. "You'll have the surgery, and money is the last thing you'll worry about." At last she nodded. Surgery was set for Monday. I cleared my calendar, booked a private duty nurse, even pre-selected post-op meals. The night before, Brielle barged in, flinging her purse onto the sofa. "Minor glitch with the organ," she snapped. "The hospital doesn't revolve around you. Your mom won't drop dead in a day, she can wait." I stared, dumbstruck, as she stormed out. The postponed surgery was cruel. Mom had fasted 12 hours as ordered, trusting every rule. I carried soup to her apartment and lied that we'd reschedule in a few days. Her pale, puffy face twisted my gut. I drove to the hospital, demanding answers at the nurse's station. "Director Brielle? Her mother-in-law received a transplant this morning." "She's in 105, the nurse said." "Mother-in-law?" Mom was home hungry. I slammed open the door to 105. An older woman lay propped against pillows. Julian stood bedside. They wheeled in unison. Julian, Brielle's high school prince. Brielle whirled, outrage replacing guilt. "This is a recovery suite, not a mall get out." Julian hissed, "My mom just had surgery. If you stress her, I'll sue you into the ground." "Transplant? For Julian's mother?" Yesterday's minor glitch snapped into focus. I seized Brielle's wrist. "Talk, or I'll broadcast it over the PA." She yanked free, cheeks flaming. "Organs go to the sickest patient. Your mom can wait." Each second of delay meant pain for Mom, yet Brielle stroked Julian's mother's hand as if carving marble. I roared, attracting doctors, nurses, visitors. Brielle flipped the script. weeping that I demanded nepotism. Strangers jeered while security dragged me out, palms clamped over my mouth. Back home, Mom waited on the front steps, shrunken and gray. "Don't fret, son. I've lived enough. Just be happy with Bree. I've got a new hospital, a new donor." Yet when I slid my card into the reader for the transfer fee, the balance read 0. Every dollar had been wired to an account Brielle controlled. 3 calls she finally picked, snarling that Julian's company needed bridge financing and she'd lent him the cash. I reported the theft, but detective shrugged, "We're married, it's communal." I begged for a loan, approval was days away. Before sunrise, neighbor rang, Mom had collapsed in the kitchen, gone before the ambulance arrived. Doctor said end-stage renal failure had triggered arrhythmia. Had the surgery happened, she would have lived. I knelt on the cold tile repeating, "If only, if only." After the funeral I hunted Julian's mother's room. Brielle knelt, feeding her bird nest supplement. Julian hovered like a protective groom. I kicked Julian square in the chest, landed a fist to his jaw. He sprawled, shrieking, while his mother screeched that her tycoon son would never touch my money. I swept the abalone tonic and bird nest jars aside. "Enjoy the feast, lady. Karma collects in cash or in flames." Brielle shoved me into the corridor. "Your mom died because her time was up, not because of me." I dragged her to the elevator bank. "Remember tuition? For years Mom paid. This is the refund." She wrenched away, signed divorce papers fluttering into my face. "I never loved you. Jules is back, and we're done." I scrawled my name and walked. Outside, a delivery truck T-boned me. When I opened my eyes, Mom 10 years younger shook my shoulder. "Colt, get up or you'll miss first bell." The Lakeshore Prep School blazer lay folded on my chair. I had returned to senior year, 6 weeks before SAT season. At school Derek whispered, "Julian's ivy-bound and dumping Bree. You're shot, man." I slammed my locker. "Never liked her. I'm chasing a different future." Brielle's eyes were red from crying. She slid a note across my desk. "Colton, can we talk?" I flipped it into the trash. Next morning a steaming carton of milk waited, her name inked in purple. I pocketed it, letting the class assume consent, then led district officials on the scheduled campus tour. I timed our arrival at the back garden, Brielle and Julian locked in a farewell embrace. District stared, principal's face purpled. Both were hauled to the admin wing, written up with major demerits. Julian's admission abroad evaporated when the stain hit his permanent record. Celeste Sterling barged in, slapping Brielle for seducing her golden boy. Later, Julian skirted hallways like she carried plague. Brielle cornered me after finals. "Colton, I was blind. Sponsor my tuition please." I stepped over her knees. "Ask Jules's trust fund. We're closed for charity." Years later the alumni grapevine buzzed. Brielle, denied funds, torched Julian's penthouse. Blaze ate the drapes and sofa. They survived scarred, she got 10 to life. That night I handed Mom my college acceptance letter. She raised a glass of sparkling cider to second chances. I stepped into the recovery suite. His mother was already awake, and Brielle was half kneeling, spoon-feeding her congee while Julian watched from the side. The scene looked exactly like a family portrait, a devoted daughter-in-law nursing her mother-in-law. I didn't give them a second to react. I slammed my foot into Julian's chest, then followed with a vicious punch that sent him sprawling. He stared up in shock, scrambling to fight back. "Colton, you psycho. What gives you the right to hit me?" "What gives me the right? I'm your creditor. Every dollar your mom's treatment cost was my mom's life-saving money." Julian's mother cut in. "You lunatic, what nonsense. My son's a big-time CEO, he doesn't need your money." I glanced at the table laden with bird nest supplement, abalone tonic, and other pricey recovery tonics, then turned to her with a cold smile. "Ma'am, you look pretty robust. Sleep well spending someone else's last hope? Let me tell you, karma's real. My mom's watching from heaven, and she won't let any of you off." Brielle's face drained of color. While soothing Julian and his mother, she shoved me toward the door. Colton. Your mom's death has nothing to do with Jules or his mom. She just didn't have the luck. I dragged her all the way to the hospital entrance. Brielle, have you no shame? Who paid your tuition for 4 straight years? If you had even a scrap of conscience, you'd never dare say something that'll curse you. Fine, your mom footed my tuition, but only because she wanted me as her daughter-in-law. It wasn't charity. My mom never forced you into anything. You swore you were over Jules, you came to me. Now that he's back, you're kicking away the bridge you crossed? Exactly. Hooking up with you was a spur-of-the-moment mistake. I never loved you. Now that Jules is back, we've rekindled what we had. I've devoted myself to his mom, and she likes me. Let's just divorce. She whipped out the papers already signed in her name and flung them at me. I nodded. Brielle blinked, stunned I'd agreed so easily. Once, I'd have fought that divorce with everything. After losing Mom so abruptly, I was too exhausted to spar another round. Evil reaps evil. Karma would finish what I couldn't. I turned and stumbled away like a sleepwalker, no destination in mind. The world spun, and when I finally came to, a loaded 18-wheeler was barreling straight at me. A thunderous crash, then nothing. When I opened my eyes again, Mom was there, years younger. Colt, up and at 'em. She called, her voice the same tender lullaby from childhood. It felt impossibly real. I seized her hand. Mom, don't leave me. Let's go to the hospital for the surgery now. Silly kid, you're dreaming. Wash up and get to school. She swatted my arm, already hustling me out of bed. I looked around, our old living room, my prep school blazer folded neatly on the chair. That instant I knew I'd gone back in time. I checked the calendar. Senior year, SAT season barely a month away. Before I could process, Mom stuffed breakfast into my hand and shooed me out the door. The whole walk felt surreal. Only when I reached campus and saw familiar faces did it hit me. I'd barely dropped my backpack when Derek slid over, eyes gleaming. Colton, hear the scoop? Julian's ivy-bound, and he and Brielle are on the rocks. The names detonated in my skull. Those 2 vipers were still in my class. 1 minute I'd been rejoicing over Mom, the next I remembered the monsters beside me. Derek wiggled his brows. Thought you liked Brielle. Now's your shot, go get her, bro. Ancient history. I'm locking in on grades, nothing else. Derek pouted. One day you're head over heels, the next you chicken out. I clenched my pen, memory surging. Brielle came from nothing, her parents blew the family fund on her brother. Yet her look snagged Julian. When he dumped her to ship off overseas, she bounced to me knowing I'd pined for years. Blind with infatuation, I showered her with gifts, tutored her nightly, then begged Mom to bankroll her entire college ride. Scholarship, we called it, no strings expected, none attached. Result? Mom died because of her. She funneled Mom's life savings to Julian and played doting nurse to his mother. Not this life. I won't be fooled again, and I sure as hell won't let her walk away. Brielle drifted in, eyes swollen from crying, fishing for sympathy with every pitiful glance. Last round those tears hooked me, now I stared past her, unmoved. She lingered, but I never looked up. After last bell she drifted over and slipped a note into my palm. Colton, I'm having a rough day, can we talk? I smirked, crumpled the paper, lobbed it into the trash, and left. Her hopeful gaze dimmed, her lips twitched. Dream on, find another chump. Julian gave a small nod. The teacher stepped in right after. As class president, I'd been tapped to escort the district on their campus tour. The teacher rattled off the same checklist as last life, then left. Every last detail identical. A perfect chance to gut Brie. After we finished the main academic hall, I checked my watch, then steered the group toward the back gazebo. Faculty, this is where we unwind after class. Great for blowing off academic steam. The moment the words left my mouth I turned and saw the color drain from every district face, while principal and homeroom went chalk gray. Inside the gazebo, Bree and Julian were locked together, wrapped so tight you couldn't slide a sheet of paper between them. Last time around I was already dating Bree. When I spotted them I'd swallowed the punch, muttered just a goodbye, and yanked the inspectors away, covering for her. This time I'd timed the reveal to the second. Every head swiveled to Principal. "Which homeroom do these two belong to?" he barked. "You're contaminating school image, office, now." Bree and Julian spun around, panic, pallor, dread and disbelief juggling across their faces. Prime theater. The tour collapsed. Principal had to come down hard in front of the district if he wanted to save a shred of reputation. Homeroom trailed Bree to the office. Within minutes the story had replicated through every corridor. Lakeshore scandal of the year. Gossip-hungry classmates clogged the hallway and the admin door. Principal exploded, even homeroom caught shrapnel. A frosty laugh echoed inside my head. "Bree, your change is due." Humiliated, Principal logged major demerits in both permanent records and summoned parents for a very public scolding. Celeste Sterling would have shrugged off a routine lecture. Julian's ivy-bound ticket was already punched until she heard the black mark on his transcript. Every elite college he'd applied to demanded a spotless file. She stayed in the office pleading, arguing, threatening, but with a gallery of district watching, Principal couldn't budge. Phone call after phone call to Bree's house rang into a void. No adult showed. I knew the family math. Last life, after we hooked up, her parents surfaced once, coffer in hand for the dowry, then vanished. Daughter be damned. By next period the entire class dissected the drama. The pair had rocketed to celebrity status. Bree slunk back in, eyes swollen, every gaze a taunt. Before her but hit the seat, staccato heels clicked in. Celeste barreled down the aisle, shoved aside onlookers, and pinned Bree with a glare that could melt steel. "You little tramp. My son says you threw yourself at him, ruined everything. Get to that office and confess, or I swear you'll never cost him his future." She fisted Bree's hair and yanked. Gasps ricocheted, no one intervened. Julian arrived, and Bree's eyes begged for rescue. He stepped behind his mother. "Mom, she slipped me the note herself. I figured we're classmates, couldn't be rude. How was I supposed to know she'd dash?" Bree's stare widened, disbelief flooding her face. "Jules, how can you? Today blindsided me too, and everyone already knows we dash." Crack. Celeste's palm smashed across Bree's cheek, snapping her sideways, skin blooming crimson. "Shameless brat. Don't smear my son, he'd never touch trash like you. Fix this lie now." She dragged Bree toward the office. Bree thrashed, scanning the crowd for help, finding none. Her gaze landed on me. Last-ditch lifeline. "Colton, please tell them what we were to each other. Help me." I kept my voice flat. "Your exact history with Julian?" "No idea. But this morning I did watch you slip him that note first." Color drained from her cheeks, her shoulders sagged. Before she could stammer, Celeste seized the opening. "See? Even a classmate saw you chase him like a bitch in heat. Disgusting." The hallway jammed shoulder to shoulder, campus suddenly a fish market. Principal and homeroom, still shepherding district, had to wait out and restore order. Between Celeste's spectacle and the official circus, Lakeshore became the county's running joke. The mess snowballed until classes froze. Major demerits were formalized for both. Julian's Ivy dream incinerated on the spot. Everywhere Bree walked the whispers followed, "That's her, the gazebo girl. Heard she threw herself at him for his money. Gold digger deluxe." Celeste never eased up. Her embellished smear campaign painted Bree as predator, Julian as prey, until crossing the cafeteria felt like running a gauntlet for Bree. Julian, stuck stateside, ghosted her like she was toxic waste. Bereft, Bree pivoted back to me. A dozen folded notes a day, she'd seen the light, always loved me, should have picked me over Julian. The memory of her kneeling at Celeste's sickbed, wagging tail devotion, turned my stomach. I neither answered nor cut her off, let her stew. SAT season ended, panic set in. After the senior party she cornered me. "Colton, I love you, regret blinding myself with Julian. Let's start fresh, please." I knew the script, tuition and stipend still unaccounted for, hunt for a 4-year meal ticket in progress. Pass. My confession then was teenage impulse. Truth is, I don't like you, so spare us both. She froze, clutched my sleeve, and dropped to her knees. Forget us as a couple, just help a classmate. Fund my tuition, my parents refuse. There it was, the bushy tail flapping. I peeled her fingers off. We're strapped. Besides, you dated Julian forever, his folks are loaded. Ask them, charity begins at their gate. She deflated like a slip balloon. From that point the ledger closed, no second replay, no Brielle chapter ever again. This time I would save my mother. Years later a reunion buzzed with news. Brie had tested into college, family still wouldn't pay, pressed her to marry instead. She crawled to the Sterlings, Celeste carved her up with words. Walking out, Brie muttered, all ruined, all of it, flicked a lighter, and torched their sofa and drapes. Blaze swallowed the floor, sirens howled into Sterling. The Sterlings survived barely, scarred. Brie traded classrooms for a cell block, the arson splashed across primetime news. When the bulletin aired, Mom was waving my college acceptance, bragging to relatives over the phone. The end, the principal called Brielle's house half a dozen times, no one picked up. I know that family better than anyone. In my last life, the only time her parents showed their faces was to collect the betrothal money, then they vanished. They never cared about their daughter. Every corner of the classroom buzzed. The two of them were suddenly celebrities. Brielle slipped back in with red-rimmed eyes, and every head swiveled to drink in the joke. She hadn't even reached her seat before staccato heels came clacking. Celeste Sterling stormed in, shoved through the gawkers, and glared at Brielle. This is all on you, you little tramp. My son said you threw yourself at him. You ruined him. March to the admin wing right now and confess, or I swear I'll make you pay for costing Jules his ivy-bound future. She grabbed a fistful of Brielle's hair and yanked. Gasps rippled through the room, but nobody moved. Julian appeared behind his mother. Brielle shot him a silent plea. He stepped back. Mom, she slipped me the note herself, he muttered. I only answered because we're classmates. I didn't think she'd dash. Brielle's eyes bulged. Jules, how can you say that? Today caught us both off guard, and everyone knows we dashed. Celeste's palm cracked across her cheek, knocking Brielle stumbling into desks. Shameless brat. Stop slandering my son. Someone like you? He wouldn't even look twice. Spill the truth now. She began dragging Brielle toward the admin wing. Brielle thrashed, scanning the crowd for help. Every classmate froze. Her gaze landed on me, suddenly pleading. Colton, please. Tell them what we were to each other, testify for me. She clung to the words like a lifeline. I don't know what you two were, I answered evenly, but I did see you hand Julian a note this morning on your own initiative. The color drained from Brielle's face, her shoulders sagged. When she opened her mouth, Celeste cut her off. Hear that? A classmate saw it. You threw yourself at my boy and splashed mud all over him. I've never seen such shamelessness. The corridor outside jammed shoulder to shoulder. Lakeshore felt like a fish market. Principal and homeroom still escorting district guests had to muscle through to restore order. After Celeste's tirade, the whole school was a punchline. Situation snowballed until classes collapsed under the chaos. Both students earned major demerits. Julian's ivy-bound dream imploded. Whenever Brielle stepped outside, whispers trailed her. Look, that's the one from the show. Heard she chased him, disgusting. His family's loaded, bet that's why. Celeste kept the rumor mill roaring, painting her son as the innocent victim. Brielle became public enemy number one. Julian stayed on campus but dodged her like she carried plague. Brielle finally gave up on him and refocused on me. Daily she slipped a dozen folded notes through the vent in my locker, claiming she'd seen the light, that it was me she'd loved all along. I felt only revulsion flashes of her doting on Celeste's hospital bed in our previous life like a pampered poodle. I neither replied nor rebuffed, I let her stew. SAT season ended. At the post-exam party she cornered me. "Colton, I love you," she said, eyes shining. I was an idiot to pick Julian. "Give us another chance." I saw through her panic, tuition and living stipend still unsecured, a meal ticket urgently needed. "No," I answered. That confession was teenage impulse. "I don't feel that way, please stop." She choked on the word, clutched my sleeve, and dropped to her knees. "Fine, don't love me. Just, as a classmate, help me afford college. My parents refuse." There it was, the telltale tale. I peeled her fingers off. "We're not rich. You dated Julian forever, his family has deep pockets. Ask them, charity begins at home, not mine." She collapsed like a puppet with cut strings. From that moment I swore off the vicious cycle. I would save Mom this time. Years later, at a reunion, I heard the aftermath. Brielle had scored a college acceptance, but her parents withheld money and demanded she marry instead. Desperate, she went to Julian. Celeste greeted her with scalding scorn. Brielle wandered away muttering, "All ruined, everything's gone." She flicked a lighter, torching the sterling sofa and drapes. The blaze swallowed the penthouse floor, sirens and fire trucks flooded the sterling complex. Julian's family survived, barely charred and scarred. Brielle? Prison bars. The arson hit primetime news. I watched the segment while Mom waved my college acceptance letter, bragging to relatives. The end.